na via video call because they're based in the province. So, ayun. But they'll be here during the finals. So, ayun. Today, we'll be conducting a presentation skills seminar. This one is more of actually giving you tips on the in the finals competition on Feb 13. So, if you have questions, just feel free to ask. Okay, so let's start with some tips regarding the panel presentation. So I think we've discussed before already the structure as to how the competition works during the finals competition. So each team will have to present their presentation within 10 minutes, and then after that, there's another 10 minutes for the question and answer portion. So there would be 5 judges. So this would be different set of judges from the graders. Okay, so essentially they have no idea as to what your reports look like during the written report stage. That's why we allow teams to revise their report and submit the revised report on Feb 6. Feb 6. On Feb 6. So yun. And then they have no idea also with regard to which teams make it to the top 4. No? So yun. So first, I think yung main idea that we want to convey to every team is to be concise but complete. Okay, so leave out unnecessary information. Similar to your reports, actually, most of the judges and graders prefer to see concise reports. Hindi yung very voluminous in terms of information that they're overwhelmed with data, but shorter, more concise, but all the information that they want to see are already there. So that's what we mean by concise but complete. Okay, so in terms of the slides, we suggest to make it simple, easy to read, and support what you are saying. Okay, so I think you're aware in terms of the grading criteria, 5 points of your grade would be coming from the materials. That's essentially the slides. Okay. Based on previous experiences naman, usually they put higher weights, higher scores already dun sa slides kasi judges already presume na pinaghirapan yung slides. So my tip on you is prepare on your slides but do not dwell too much time making your slides na sobrang OC kayo na inubos nyo na yung oras nyo sa slides presentation, because what really matter most to win in the finals presentation would be your presentation and how you perform during the Q&A. So, focus on those. Don't confuse the judges. What we mean here is stick on to your recommendation, your conclusion. If your recommendation is a buy recommendation, then make sure that throughout your presentation, you're solid with your recommendation, your facts, your supporting arguments that it's really a buy or a sell if you're selling, providing a sell recommendation. You want them to remember you because your visuals or speech are so tight that they leave a big impact. So, in short, be concise. No? Next is be convincing. Okay, what we're looking here is the team that will eventually represent the Philippines in the regional and hopefully the global finals. So, what we want here are members in a team that are convincing enough to present and deliver their arguments during the Q&A. So, be passionate about your topic, but don't be too aggressive or intimidating. Sometimes kasi it's a downside to some judges that you're being too much aggressive to your point na sort of you're arguing already with the judges. Don't be that type, no? So, as much as possible, we want someone who is very eager to defend his argument, but not to the point that you're getting very intimidating or aggressive. No? Don't speak too fast and pause during your speech. I think this is one of the common problems sa mga students and even sa mga participants na especially during the Q&A, because we know for the fact that the presentation part, the 10-minute presentation part, it's something that you already prepared, diba? It's a prepared speech. You have script there. So ang assumption namin, ang premise namin dyan is on the presentation, all of you would be on equal level. So, equal playing field na well prepared. But nagkakatalo yan usually in the Q&A portion. And when already judges ask questions na sort of unprepared for the students, tendency for the students to speak too fast. No? So our suggestion is really to speak the same level as how you present during your presentation. Kasi usually what judges look at is how you present during your presentation, your prepared speech, how confident you are there, especially yung facing mo, dapat similar siya doon sa Q&A. Kasi nakahalata if different, then lumalabas na prepared ka nga talaga sa presentation, but on the Q&A side, lumalabas yung anxiety, yung pressure, di ba? So, our suggestions, don't speak too fast. Normal lang, normal facing. Then pause during your speech, okay? So, no need to, ayun nga, speak too fast, learn how to pause. Especially during Q&A. Kasi another problems with students is that they tend to over-answer, na they kept on saying a lot of sentences such that to the point na hindi na nila kayang i-end. So, yun, it goes back to our first line na be concise. So, so how to start? Later on, we'll be presenting yung itsura nung yung venue so that you'll be familiar, you'll get to familiarize yung how it looks like sa actual competition na. So, how to start first is greet your audience, introduce team, start off by saying your recommendation and the key reasons for your recommendation. Typical na flow ng mga presentation, even in the past years, is you greet your audience, meaning good afternoon, gano'n. Tapos, you introduce your team by saying your team name, but you're not allowed to mention your university name, okay? So, may mga ibang teams, they even introduce their team members one by one. Pero others, most of the teams prefer that they just mention their team name. And then usually they start with recommendation. Kasi at the end of the day, what's important to the judges would be, what are you telling us, diba? Which is ultimately the recommendation. So what we suggest is to start with your recommendation, whether it's a buy, sell, or hold, and what are your key catalysts supporting your recommendation. And then what we suggest also is later on, dun sa ending, is to repeat your recommendation so that you reiterate, you make your stand, you're solid with your stand na ito yung recommendation namin. Okay? But this is just again a tip lang, suggestion. You could make your own flow of your discussion. Preparation beats everything. Okay, so I think this tip is applicable to every task that we do, whether it's an exam or a competition. Preparation is really the key, especially in this type of competition. Both on the presentation part and then the Q&A part, you really have to prepare. Even the Q&A part, definitely you won't know what questions would be asked during the finals competition, but you could prepare. You could prepare what possible questions to be asked by the judges. And some teams, what they do is they really compile sets of questions and then they try to answer those prepared questions so that when during finals, possible lumabas yung question, they're already familiar with the question. Okay? So, yun, prepare your speech and script, so that's on the 10-minute presentation. Memorize your lines if necessary, but don't deliver it as if it's memorized. Usually, you really have to memorize, but just make sure that when you present, it doesn't look like you're just stating your prepared speech, no? So, practice your presentation, practice individually and as a group. We suggest you practice individually, which is, ang suggestion is, video yourself, then review the video to spot areas for improvement. Kasi, when you video yourself, you're able to review what's your posture, ano yung diction mo, facing when you speak, no? So, you could do that individually and then later on as a team. Kasi, important again is in the team na dapat medyo synchronize yung the way the team members speak. Hindi pwede na may isang member na too loud in terms of presenting, then the others medyo mild. As much as possible, there's dapat may unity within the team, no? So it's up to the team how to manage that. So but our suggestion is really preparation beats everything, no? So in terms of order of presentation, this is what we suggest. Strongest person at the start and at the end, okay? Kasi usually yun yung pambungad, no? Dapat you make your first impression sa judges na really strong. So what we suggest is kung sino yung best speaker nyo, siya yung sa start. And then think of a way how to make the judges parang really focus on you in terms of how you will introduce or make your introduction. Previously, yung mga medyo bago pa yung IRC competitions, we just do usual good morning, we are team ganito. But based on the previous years, because it's getting more competitive sa mga teams, what usually happen now is nagkakaroon sila ng mga introduction lines, tsaka bago mag-good morning. So it's up to the teams on how to prepare that introduction. And then also at the end, kasi syempre, marami pang teams ang mag-represent, and then it's a 10-minute presentation. So dapat, towards the end, magising nyo ulit yung mga judges na magaling tong team na to by making a strong ending statement. No? So we suggest strongest person, strongest speakers, start and at the end. Kung lahat yung strongest speakers, then no issue kasi walang problema, di ba? So yun, order of presentation, that's what we suggest. And then this is what the stage layout looks like. No? So exactly ganyan yung itsura. So this is the PSC auditorium downstairs sa ground. No? So dito yung entrance. Okay? Tapos, sa harapan, may registration booth kami because we highly encourage each team na invite your classmates to watch you and support you, no? So, magre-register sila dyan, then hopefully ma-fill up natin yung seats for your guests. But we allotted this side of the audience seat for you guys, no? So, later on ba, yung mag-draw lots? So later on, mag-draw lots kayo as to the order of your presentation. Okay? So, syempre yung makakuha ng 1, sila yung first to present, 2, second, and so on. No? So, based on ano yung mag-draw lot nyo, you will be seated accordingly. So, team 1 sa pinakaharap, then team 2, team 3, team 4, with your faculty. Okay? And then, usually what we do is, ganyan yung format. Kapag magsa-start na yung competition, yung team 1 lang yung ma-remain sa auditorium. Yung 3 teams would be put in a holding room, katabi lang. So, in short, si team 1 ang una mag-present, but after na mag-present, upo na siya dito, then si team 2 naman papasok. So, si team 1 will be able to see all the presentations. Si team 4, unfortunately, wala siyang makikita presentation. So, ganun yung magiging structure. Okay? So, in terms of yung layout nung sa stage, mangyayari is, ito yung stage. Sa baba niyan would be one long table. This would be the table for the judges. So we've invited 5 judges. So we already have the judges. So they're aware already. No? So, dyan sila nakaupo. So, and then, beside the judges, there would be another small table for our team. So there would be a timer and an auditor. No? So during your presentation, dito kayo titingin to check whether you're within your time or hindi. So usually the timer will raise a card stating kung ilang minutes left na lang. Ang papakita is
10, 5, 3, 1 minute in.
Okay, 10, 5, 3, and 1. Okay? So, if nakita nyo yung time's up, kailangan nyo nang i-wrap up agad yung statement nyo or ika-cut kayo right away. Okay, so ganun yung mangyayari. Okay? And then, ang mangyayari, dito yung audio system kung saan yung wireless mic nakakonect. No? So, this is the stage. Then, may stairs both sides. Usually, what will happen is, dito kayo manggagaling sa side na to, sa gilid. So, kapag team nyo na, fall in line namin kayo dito. And then, once you hear the signal na okay na kayo, your turn na, papalakad namin kayo from here, pag ganito, to greet the judges. So one by one, you will shake hands with the judges. Then after that, aakyat kayo dito sa right side ng stage. Sa right side ng stage. Okay? And then pag akyat nyo, there's one podium here. Okay? One podium. And then, dito yung LED screen. And then, usually dito kayo tatayo. So, yung in terms of the laptop, okay, there will be two. Okay, una is yung laptops manggagaling sa inyo. Okay? So, tama di ba? Manggagaling sa kanila, okay. Oh, tama sa inyo. Usually, they bring two laptops. One laptop for the presentation. Kasi yung laptop for the presentation, dito namin ilalagay. Kasi dito nakakonect yung audio system and the booth eh. Tama? Yung for the presentation, di ba?
For the presentation, doon na din.
dito
Laptop na rin
rin?
niya, oo. Sila na
Okay.
din mag-ooperate.
So lahat doon na?
Oo.
Okay, so nagbago
So,
na
bali,
sila.
bago mag-start yung presentation, may make sure namin na
Tama.
okay na tong
Okay na yun, di ba?
presentation
Okay.
nila, tsaka na kami.
So, yun, in that case, isang laptop na lang pala from them. Kasi ang mangyayari pala, dito nyo na lang pala i-set up yung laptop nyo. Okay? Don't worry kasi while setting up yung laptop nyo, hindi pa naman mag-start yung timer. Okay? So, we'll wait na maayos nyo yung laptop, na na-check nyo na nag-run siya. And then after that, punta na kayo sa position nyo. Okay? And then,
Tapos ano lang, kaya dalawang laptop, in case na magloko yung isang laptop nyo, may spare
May
tayo.
backup.
Oo, may backup.
okay. And then, kayo bahala mag-manage nung flow nung sa presentation. Meaning, you have your own clicker or you could borrow clicker from us. Just inform them na you'll borrow our clicker or you could bring your own. So, in terms of dun sa PowerPoint nyo, labas ang team ng CFA, as in kayo bahala mag-ensure na nagpo-flow yan accordingly dun sa plano nyo. Okay? So, that's the layout. And then, yun, dito yung presenters. And then, once matapos yung presentation, there's Q&A. Usually, sa Q&A, we allow one participant to be on the podium so that he or she could navigate yung slides nyo prepared for the Q&A. Tapos, the four would be here. Okay? In terms of the presentation, we will provide wireless microphone. There would be two wireless microphones for the presentation. And then for the finals, we allow three. Two wireless and one doon sa podium. Okay? So, ganun yung structure. In terms of the PowerPoint, itong sa PSE, they are compatible PowerPoint presentation 2010 and up version. So, 2010 and up version. Tapos, yung screen niya could accommodate 16:9 ratio.
Yung
Yung
format, wide.
screen, yung wide na naka-default sa PowerPoint. So, yun yung format.
Size.
Okay, format size. And then, once tapos na kayo mag-present and then the Q&A, dito ang labas sa other side. Always dito sa labas, sa kabila, sa left side, then go back to your allotted seats. So, ganyan yung flow. Okay. So, yung microphone, yung two wireless microphones will be handed over to you. Nandito pa lang kayo. So, may dalawa sa inyo, dala na yung microphones here. And then, when you end, make sure na yung microphones, i-turn over nyo doon sa guys namin. Okay? Para gamitin yung sumunod na team. Okay? So, yeah, I guess that's it. May question kayo so far in terms of this? Clear naman? Okay, sige. So, study the stage layout. So, yun, yung pinakita namin kanina. So that alam nyo kung saan kayo tatayo and then where the other members will stay. Presenter has to look at the judges while presenting, then stand squarely, put hand together in front, and look at the speaker while waiting for a turn. This one is no, up to you. Kasi kanya-kanya yan if ang strategy nyo is hands on your side or hands in front or at the back, bahala kayo. Basta look, you guys should look decent and yun, confident pa rin. No? So, Yun, up to you. And then, practice how you will hand off the microphone from one speaker to another. Before going up to the stage, shake hands with the judges, as I discussed earlier. Firm handshake, as in firm handshake. Wag malumanay, kasi ang dating doon, parang hindi kayo serious. Then, eye contact with the judge. Doon sa microphone, I think this is also important, kasi based on experience, judges do not only look at how you speak, but they also look at little gestures, even handing microphone. Kasi especially on the Q&A part. Kasi what they want to check here is first, there's team involvement, and second, confidence. Ang tip, usually, kapag nakikita yung judges, for example, I'm the one holding the microphone, and then the judge asks a question, and then I'm the one handling the microphone, suddenly hindi niya alam yung sagot. Usually, ang tendency yung ginagawa, pasa, right? That's already a red signal for the judges, meaning he will think na yung may hawak ng microphone doesn't know the answer. So, you guys should practice, should discuss how you would properly handle even these types of mga small gestures. So, yun. Okay. In terms of attire, so wear formal business attire. So I think you're all aware this is a business competition. So for men, suit with white or light. This one is kayo bahala. Sample lang to. Hindi to specific na kailangan pare-parehas ng kulay. But we suggest really long sleeve shirt with suit, no? And uniform color type. Up to the team also, kasi may mga teams na ang gusto same color. Tapos usually they wear yung color ng subject company or color ng school nila. But recently they prefer a different color na hindi same sa school nila para hindi ma-tag agad na that's their school. Depende on your strategy. So ladies, ganun din, suit pants or skirt, uniform colored inner blouse, closed-toe shoes, a little makeup. Akala kayo.
Pansagalang.
So, avoid wearing poor-fitting or flashy suits, short skirts. Specific natin more than 2 inches above the knees.
Kasi last time may naka-heels ata, parang may natisod.
Loud shoes, very high heels. Avoid those now sa girls. So, syempre sa guys, hindi applicable. So, fixed hair. Usually, ang ginagawa rin ng mga teams, lalo na sa mga girls, pare-pareha sila ng hair. Kung yung hair is nakaganda, ang tawag doon?
Pusod. Ponytail.
Ponytail. Consistent sila. Bahala kayo. Pero kasi, again, impression, yung the way you present yourselves, that's already making impression to the judges diba? So, but this is a very minor thing kasi it doesn't cover grade sa grading sheet, no? So, where to look during the presentation? So, we suggest look at the judges, okay? Smile at the judges, address to the judges, okay? So, do not play to the room or audience. So, in short, be focused dun sa ano yung agenda nyo, which is basically to convince the judges of your recommendation. The room is simply observing the presentation. So, present to the judges, you're not presenting to the room or audience. Usually kasi ang nangyayari, kapag ang isang team biglang nagkaka-mental block or nawawala sa presentation, it's because they're more concerned sa impression ng audience rather than the judges. Lalo na kapag biglang ang audience umingay, which is usually nangyayari yan. Okay? So what we always suggest is focus doon sa objective na you're presenting not to the audience but to the judges. So, wag niyong pakilaman yung audience. Kung mag-ingay man sila, hayaan niyo sila, don't mind them. Just mind the judges. Okay? Kasi in the past, several situations already happened na may mga students na may mental block during presentation, as in really long pauses. So, just imagine that, di ba? So, that already makes a lot of statement to the judges kapag gano'n nangyari. So, just remind yourselves na ano yung objective, focus dun sa sino lang yung gusto nyong makinig sa inyo. Okay? How to handle the screen and the slides. What we suggest is do not turn your back to the audience. Okay? Meaning, wag yung every time na mag-change ng slide, lumilingon kayo. Okay? The protocol here is usually dapat the slides follow the speaker, not the speaker following the slides. Okay? So, may nangyari na rin in the past na kapag nasira yung PowerPoint slides nyo, hindi kayo pwedeng huminto. Okay? So, the show must go on. So, in short, kailangan you do not rely on your slides. Okay? Similarly, do not turn your back to the judges. So, know that slides very well such that you simply have to indicate with your arm and point to a specific number that you really want to focus on and not turn your whole body and start reading the slide. What other teams do, even by not looking at the slides, they know when to point dun sa slide na may numbers. As in, ganun nila kabisado yung slides nila. So, that's actually what we suggest. And then, ang tip dito is know who would be practice and discuss among the team who will hold the clicker. Kasi hindi naman, ang suggestion namin usually is dapat, kung sino yung speaker, dapat hindi siya yung naghahawak ng clicker. Kasi ang tendency nun, dalawa na yung ano niya eh, yung kailangan niyang pag-isipan, yung pag-click, tsaka yung speech niya. So, discuss among yourselves how you will allocate who would do the clicking of the slides. Okay? Some, what they do, time yung presentation. But for me, I don't like time presentations. Kasi usually, pag may nangyari na unintentionally at hindi na sumakto doon sa time presentation nyo, then everything is a mess, messed up na. So, yun, pag-isipan ng team how to handle the screen and then the slides. And then as mentioned, how to handle the microphone. So discuss among yourselves, how do you handle the microphone? Usually, proper handling is just like this. Some kasi what they do is yung pinaka-tip ng microphone, ginaganon pa nila, which is a no-no, okay? So, be professional in handling the microphone. And then, handle it firmly. No? So, ayun. May mga iba pa ka So, avoid,
sobrang lapit. No?
diba? Ang lapit pa. So, avoid those mga small gestures natin. So, yun, again, rehearse including how you are going to pass the microphone. Both sa presentation and then on the Q&A part. Okay? Then, how to handle the final 1-minute warning. Kasi, as mentioned earlier, may card kaming erase if it's 1 minute left. So, make sure that you're able to finish. I'm pretty sure na you'll be able to finish kasi it's a prepared speech. Not unless may mangyaring hindi natin inaasahan, no? But, yun. So, just make sure that if in case, final 1 minute and then medyo mahaba pa because nagkaroon ng issues, keep calm and then just properly finish your presentation. Okay? So, again, the judges will remember the opening and the conclusion. So, keep these parts confident. Okay? And strong. How to prepare using English? Slow down. That's what we're telling earlier na speak slowly. Kasi powerful people speak slowly. Powerful people move slowly. That's the favorite line ata ni Miss April. So, which is true. Okay? Hindi to pagalingan ng pagsabi ng answers such at the point na binibilisan mo yung sinasabi mo para ang dami mong sabihin, di ba? Actually, this is another good strategy in the Q&A na talk slowly but concise with substance kasi it avoids judges to ask plenty of questions. No? So, ayun, speak slowly, then move slowly. Use plain language and keep on smiling. Idea here is don't use mga flowery words, okay, na just to impress judges. The simpler it is, the easier to understand, the better. Especially kapag meron kang ginamit na very technical word, tapos paulit-ulit mong ginagamit, it's a parang negative na yun on the judges. Kasi hindi magandang makarinig ng very technical word and then it keeps on repeated. So, ayun. Substance again is compelling. So, always in mind when you answer, you really answer directly to the question. Okay, so important yun. Ending with confidence, the Q&A. So, what we always suggest, even if it's a Q&A na no one knows ano yung tatanungin ng judges, what we suggest is you still prepare for possible questions and answers. Okay? So, as mentioned, usually, strategy is to prepare a list of questions, possible questions, para even dun sa slides nyo for Q&A, you have prepared slide. Actually, that's a plus point for judges. Kung nasaktuhan nyo na they ask, especially for a sensitivity question na what if this scenario happens and sumakto na prepare yung slide na yun, that's really a plus point to the judges. Kasi napag-isipan yung mabuti yung mga possible scenarios, yung mga sensitivity analysis and scenario analysis. Okay? Be ready to defend all assumptions on revenue growth drivers and margins. Usually, judges ask for this. They ask for how yung EPS drivers, no? So basically, that's on the margins and then your assumptions on how you project revenues. Aside from that, they always ask for valuation concepts. So especially relative valuation and your DCF approach. Most questions actually dwell much on the discount rate. In the past, paborito nilang tanungin lagi is yung beta and comparables. So make sure that gamay na gamay nyo paano nyo siya ginawa. Okay? Ano pa ba? And then, usually, karamihan kasi sensitivity talaga eh. And mga competitive positioning questions. Like, ano yung competitive advantage or edge niya? Yun yung mga questions usually. So, what we suggest for the Q&A is assign the member who will answer questions. Assign one member to be an expert on the different topics. Okay? So, I think naman the way you prepare your paper, siguro naman naka-assign yan na may isang member does the industry analysis, one member is into the calculations, one is into the valuation. Usually, that's a good start na kung sino yung gumawa nun, then sila na yung expert on those topics. No? So, if questions are asked in relation to that topic, then you know sino yung naka-assign doon. But what we suggest is always there should be one or two members of the team that really know everything. Okay? Kasi in Q&A, always avoid dead air. Okay? Kasi when, for example, one judge asks a question and then may tendency kasi ang mga students na usually hindi prepared yung question na yon, they discuss among themselves muna how to answer. Avoid that scenario. So, ensure that if there's a question, make sure that one of your team members is already prepared to answer the question. Okay? So, ang strategy, ang usual na suggestion namin is have one or two members that know everything. Kasi if in case na walang makasagot, dapat yung student na yun, yung member na yun na naka-assign doon, siya yung mag-step up and answer the question. Okay? And then, another thing is, as much as possible, ensure that everyone speaks sa Q&A. Kasi again, there's a team involvement component dun sa score. And what we check there is if everyone speaks, na hindi lang isa yung nagsasalita lagi sa buong presentation, sa buong Q&A part, no? So, doon papasok yung dapat merong, when there's a question, pwede kayong mag-answer from two members to answer that question. Okay? So, ayun. Then,